Not that what he's done is right, it's just that you don't simply understand his actions, and if you don't understand that there will be chaos in your household. I'm visualizing from his perspective. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of this relationship. I'm not saying, like, I'm not someone who cares to morally judge. I care about you and I care about your sister. And if we can end up forming some kind of happy relationship there, then that's the best case scenario. So it's not about right or wrong. Purpose is what we need to bring down. What is the purpose? What is the why? What was the reason he did this? When you can understand this with empathy, then you can start to see that he might not be a bad person for this. And you said he's not a bad person, but he might not have even done something really wrong. Because you remind me a lot of myself when I heard the exact same news that my father cheated, and of course that meant my father was a bad person. It was just icky, kind of disgusting to be around him, and he sat there in shame whilst like my mom cries, and my brother had caught him on this website. I still remember this website, singlemuslim.com, and he had a profile on that and everything, and you know, it was, I hated him, my mom hated him, my brother hated him, my sister hated him for years and years and years. And it was only when I turned around 22, 23, 24, that one day, just like as I was reading a book, he did absolutely nothing wrong. He did, literally. Because this real world contract that we make these days, that we will be exclusive. Our primal caveman brains don't give a fuck about this marriage contract. If your primal survival needs are not being met, anything that we've said with our like prefrontal cortex modern brain is no longer even matters. Men often cheat these days because they're not respected, and quite frankly because their wives aren't fucking them anymore. Maybe you're not seeing a lot of like the man side, which a lot of people don't, because in this situation it's very clear who the enemy, the bad person is, and this has been the narrative for many families without ever understanding why a man might cheat. What happens over those 1,000 nights where he's rejected sexually? What happens when his woman doesn't even look at him the same anymore? The last time she dressed up for him was 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. When someone isn't getting their needs met, they either break up or they start to cheat. I'd say 9 times out of 10 they cheat first. Cheating's probably about 5 times more common than we think, just because statistics say that 20 to 40% of people cheat. I actually think it's closer to about 80 to 90. I think it'd be closer to 100. I think there's actually only a few percentage of people who would never cheat, because the most people who say they would never cheat are the ones who simply just don't actually get the opportunity to. For most guys who say that they'll never cheat, if they had a hot girl bent over and their dick was hard in a private room, they would do it. Simple as that. You'd be a fool to disagree with that. And for most women who say that they would never do it, if their man got fat and started drinking soy, and suddenly he started acting like this estrogenic little pussy bitch, and then another guy flirts with her, she's gonna fantasize about him. And how far is that from cheating? Because a woman cheats with this fantasized romantic visualization that she starts with, and a man just cheats with just by having sex. And of course this is like making it simple. Of course women cheat physically, men cheat emotionally too, but in general this is how like the masculine cheats and the feminine cheats. And so if this happens, and this is why I asked you if you could put yourself in his shoes, and as much as you said thingy, quite frankly you can't. You have an inability to put yourself in your father's shoes. I can see it in you. You haven't been close enough to your father to actually have like this. I don't say this as an insult. This is the case for a lot of us. The same with me. But I see a lot of like my younger self with you, like the way you talk about things. I can see that you've been a lot closer to your mother, which means that you don't understand like the man's role in the relationship as much as you possibly could. Maybe you understand the mother a lot more, which I won't say it's right or wrong. It's probably just not the life that most young men want to live. Most young men would prefer to be masculine, but it's just the way that we've been raised. I'd say the thing he did wrong is that by being married, he promised that he wouldn't do this, and then he did it, which that's the thing that he did wrong.